Refinery rationalisation is accelerating globally, and the Mediterranean region is one of the most exposed areas due to a convergence of structural, competitive, and geopolitical pressures. European demand for gasoline and diesel has been drifting lower for years, driven by efficiency improvements and electrification. This reduces the local outlet for production, forcing refineries, especially in the Med and Northwest Europe, to rely more heavily on exports at a time when export markets are becoming significantly more competitive and volatile. One of the biggest structural shifts is the emergence of very large, highly efficient, export-orientated refineries. The Dangote refinery in Nigeria, with a more than 600,000 barrel per day of planned capacity, is particularly transformative for the Med. West Africa has long been a crucial destination for surplus European gasoline and diesel. As Dangote ramps up output and meets domestic and regional demand, that outlet shrinks, removing a major balancing mechanism for Mediterranean refineries and compressing margins. The Olmeca refinery in Mexico contributes to the global rebalancing in a different way. By reducing Mexico's dependency on US Gulf Coast product imports, it redirects more US barrels towards Europe, intensifying competition and pushing marginal Med refineries further down the cost curve. We're already seeing rationalisation materialise. Several European plants have closed or transitioned to biofuel productions, such as TotalEnergies and Eni's Porto Marghera, being high-profile examples. In the UK, the trend is similar. Grangemouth has announced the end of refining operations, transitioning towards an import terminal. Earlier losses also included Teesside and Milford Haven. These closures highlight the challenge for older, smaller and less complex refineries in complying with EU carbon regulation and competing against new mega-refineries with lower operating costs and scale advantages. Trade wars are adding another layer of complexity. Tariffs and retaliatory duties, particularly between the US, China, and the EU, are altering traditional product flows and limiting market access for refineries. At the same time, European refineries face barriers in premium markets, reducing flexibility and pressurizing margins. This forces shifts in crude slates at refineries. The impact on crude oil demand is expected. The more refineries close or downscale, the lower the call on crude in Europe. This could weaken regional crude differentials and push more Atlantic basin crudes towards Asia or Africa, depending again on arbitrage conditions. On the product side, Europe will increasingly rely on imported middle distillates and light ends, heightening price volatility and tying regional markets more closely to supply dynamics in the Middle East and the US Gulf Coast. Finally, the ongoing conflict in the Middle East adds considerable uncertainty. Disruptions to the Red Sea shipping raise freight costs, delay flows, and increase operational risk. If instability persists, Middle Eastern producers may prioritize nearby markets, tightening supply into Europe and accelerating rationalisation among less competitive refineries. Overall, European refining systems are entering a phase of rapid restructuring, driven by new global refining capacity, geopolitical pressure, and environmental policy, combined with trade war dynamics.